you have been a very kind audience. You know, this is the first time when I'm being introduced as the chair of Eskom, where I'm not getting any booze. It's like, thank you so much. Thank you for that. And again, I was asked to come and talk to you guys here around energy solutions. And I was thinking, sitting where you are, what is it really you'd be expecting Eskom? Should you be thinking about the future, or should you be focusing on like today? You know, so I decided, let me try and balance the two things. Let's focus, let me talk a little bit about the challenges of today before I jump into the solutions around the future. A little bit about me. I'm a retired guy, you can see. I retired in 2022 after a stint not Transnet, after a stint in a company called Altron. And I decided after that I'd like to spend my time to focus on the things that I care about and the things where I can make a difference, given the experience that one has have had over many, many years. And so it is not something that is a surprise that you find me in environments that don't work, because I'm attracted to things that don't work. That's just me. And so I am at home in Eskom. So a little bit about Eskom, where we are. I joined that board with about 12 of my colleagues 18 months ago. And at the time, we were experiencing huge amounts of load shedding. And we were asked to come and join. And many of us, we did not volunteer. We did not say, hey, can you would like to be part of that board? No, we were asked to come and help. So that's likely, almost all of us were asked to come and help. And one thing that I really appreciate about that board is the diversity of expertise. These are people that truly understand their spaces. We've got engineers there, we've got accountants, we've got human capital people, we've got marketing, etc., and also labor. So we've got this diverse group of people that, when I look at it, I can see that these are people that have a great knowledge, experience to be able to be in that institution, an institution that was going through and continues to go through a lot of pain. And some of the things that we did as we were joining in and just coming in, we felt that, yes, it's great to go and have a conversation with the leaders, but let's connect deeply with the people on the ground to try and understand what was going on there. So for us, it was always going to be, we're always going to be a board that is an engaged board, versus many other boards that serve coffee, you serve this, have good time, and you leave. No, we're always going to be a board that is engaged. And being an engaged board, of course, have got its negatives, because you tend to ask questions, and sometimes people do not like the questions that you ask. We did not care, and many leaders of the business, unfortunately, they come from an environment where they have never been questioned. And we're always going to be that board, that question doesn't matter who you are. It could be a marketing guy, it could be a CEO, COO. We did not have a problem. We engage with you, we ask questions, tough questions. We also felt that when we're given information as the board, sometimes it gets filtered. Given the challenges that we were facing as that board, we felt we needed to connect directly, get some of the information directly from the people on the ground. And we spent, I remember it was the second week, we had all of the power station managers up here at Megawatt Park, and spent some time with them to try and understand deeply what was going on. What was going on, why we're having some of the challenges that we're having. And that, the reason why I'm sharing with you that, because that set the scene. When we came up with now, we ended up coming up with what we call a generation recovery plan. It's a plan that was meant to take us, or is meant to take us out of the current challenges that we're having around load shedding. It's a 2-year plan that was approved by this board in April last year. So you can see 2 years. April last year, that's when we started to implement the plan. And I remember at that time when we were about to, when we first shared with the relevant people that we've got this 2-year plan, and we spoke to our shareholder minister and said, what? 2 years? Is there something that you did not understand about your mandate? Because this is urgent. We need to solve this thing like yesterday. If you want people that can solve this thing in 2 months, maybe you can go and find them elsewhere, but it's not us. We are the people that we feel that it's going to take at least 2 years, even 2 years is really, really pushing it, but it's going to take 2 years to do this thing. Anyway, long story short, we are a year into that 2 years. And what is the foundation of that plan? The foundation of that plan is one of the things I've learned everywhere. You must really keep things simple. Keep things simple. We sometimes try and confuse people, come up with all sorts of big things. And we want to be, of course, called intelligent, but we chose to keep things simple. For us, said, okay, we have got power stations that are doing very well. Let's maintain the performance of those power stations. Let them not deteriorate. So that was the first element. Then we've got, secondly, power stations that were contributing close to 80% of the problems of Eskom. There were only 6 of those power stations that fixed those. Then the rest of the power stations, because we believe that management or leadership matters. Leadership matters. Let's make sure that each and every one of those power stations are being led by people that know what they are doing. People who know what they're doing. Because we had observed that we're having situations where managers were not managing, leaders were not leading in Eskom. So you understand in situations like that, it's like when you are a parent, not parenting. You know what will happen, it's going to be chaos in that environment. So we did that, and we changed about 45% of the power station managers, 45%. And we have been executing that plan over the last year. That plan is really about driving planned maintenance. And we have done over the last year more planned maintenance than it has been done over the last 4 years. That's the focus. And in doing that planned maintenance, you're actually taking capacity out in order for you to do planned maintenance. So you have to go through pain because you've got less capacity. People want power, but you have made a choice. I need to go and do planned maintenance. So that's what we've done. And now we're starting to see the benefits of that, the benefits of the work that we have done up to this point. We have reduced something called unplanned maintenance, unplanned outages. Those were sitting at about 19,000 megawatts, unplanned outages. Those have been reduced from that to about, right now, sitting at about 13,000. That has given us the capacity to be able to now to be sitting in this situation where we are starting to see some green shoots. but you still have 13,000 megawatts of unplanned maintenance that we could still be giving back. So the priority right now that we have in the business is to get that number to below 10. So that's the priority. We had an environment where our leaders and the employees in the business were not incentivized, because in discussing with the powers that be, they were saying that this company is making losses, it's not performing. No, we cannot have incentives here. People should not be given incentives. It sounds like a great thought, that one, until you realize that this is actually what is called collective punishment. There are many, many people in this business that were doing great things, but not being, of course, recognized for that. So we had to go and have those fights and make sure that we have now the tools that can help us to drive the kind of behavior that we expect. Of course, if you are not performing, you're going to get nothing. But if you are performing, you're going to get something. We've driven now the targets, these targets that I'm talking about, all the way down to the power station, all the way down. People have those targets. Everybody is aligned around getting ourselves to below the 10,000 gigawatts of unplanned downtime. So that is some of the things that are happening. Of course, I keep hearing all sorts of things that is linked to where we are now, is linked to maybe the elections. It's something that, when you are in that environment that we're in, where you understand the work that has been done and the tough decisions that we had to make to get us to this point. But of course, we understand that South Africans can always be skeptical because we have let them down many times in the past. So we get that. But this is, to us, is not a surprise where we are. We are exactly where we should be right now, given the work that we have been doing over the last while. So I just felt that I needed to address that piece before I get to solutions. There was one of the leaders that I used to work for, he said, you can dream, dreaming is great, but we need to eat today. What are we going to eat today? Before you tell me about what you are dreaming. So this is what it was about, the eating part, the dreaming part. Okay. With regards to our priorities in Eskom, just for you to understand that we are not confused. We are not confused in Eskom. We get it. We understand what our priorities are. 3 priorities that we have. One is to fix today's business. That's very important. But secondly is to make sure that Eskom remains relevant in the future. I know we've created so much unhappiness in your lives that many of you wish we would just disappear. I've got bad news. We've got leaders there that are making sure that this company remains relevant for a very, very long time. That's our mission, and we are going to do that. So as we talk about renewables, we talk about the future, we are going to be participating in that future. And that's key, because when we're talking about the energy space, there are really 3 areas when they talk about the energy trilemma. It's about energy security, which is really the eating part. But there are other elements. There is about energy sustainability. But most important one within our environment here in South Africa is the affordability of energy. We need to balance all of those things. And that's what we're trying to do in Eskom. And if we remain in the past, we're never going to be able to drive down the cost of electricity. We need to participate and be part of the new agenda that's going to be helping us to take away these increases each and every year, coming up with double-digit increases. If you go to many countries, I've got a friend in Portugal, and he was telling me after he saw, that he's going to be presenting here, he said, by the way, we have had a tariff decrease in Portugal, And they're able to do that because they made the right choices way back then. They say that we make choices, but in the end, our choices make us. We make choice. Where we are today as a country, as Eskom, we are exactly where we should be, given the poor choices that we have made in the past. But the good thing about this statement is that you can make different choices, and those choices will put you in a different place. And that's what we have been doing together with management to take Eskom to a different place where it can continue to be relevant and beloved by the people of this country. Some of the things that are the big drivers within this space, these are big trends. The decarbonization. Many people who keep hearing that Eskom is like, we are so married to coal, right? We do not want to let go of coal. We do have plans that still have got another 50 years to go, and we will continue to run those. But in the process, we will continue to be building our capabilities as well in the space so that we can contribute in the reduction of carbon. So that decarbonization thing is something that we get. Democratization, this is another big trend that we're seeing throughout the industry right now. And some of the things that are happening with us restructuring Eskom into 3 different is part and parcel of doing that. Decentralization, that's another big driver within our space. And then the last one is digitalization. Those are the big changes that are happening, or the trends that are happening within our space. So looking now at some of the key innovations that are coming within Eskom. When you listen at the jokes that are being made around Eskom, you would not expect that you would find anything positive that is coming in from that environment. And that's so sad. When you think about really the smart people that we have in that company. I can tell you now, and for sure, 100% I would know, and I can bet a daggy. I can bet that there is no other energy company that has got this highest concentration of really, really smart people than the people that we have in our company. I'm talking here in South Africa. I know that for sure. But those are the people that were poorly led. And it's not their problem. It's the problem of us as leaders, the way we've been leading them. But led properly, they can come up with great things, and they are. You do know that one of the byproducts of coal, of burning coal, is ash. And we are now doing a lot of good work around that ash beneficiation, and that can come up and help a number of other industries to come out of the work that is currently being done by our people around ash. Yes, right now it's the ash that is sitting there. It continues to be a challenge. We're trying to find ways and means of storing it in a safe way. But the work that we've done now, that is looking at how we can use that ash and come up with products, that's a great opportunity for this country. And we're excited about the work that is being done there. There's also work that is being done around fuel igniters. This fuel is more like when you are doing a braai, it's like a blitz. This fuel is costing us about 8 billion a year. This blades thing. It's costing us about 8 billion. So some of the innovation that we've come up within Eskom is going to save us about 80% of the cost of acquiring this fuel, that low fuel igniters that we have come up with. And think about it, all of these costs, if we are making all of these savings, they talk to the tariff. If we want to get the tariff to reverse, to get into another direction where we are actually coming up with negative increases, these are some of the initiatives that we need to be driving within the company. The other piece that we are doing is that thing called the remote piloted aircraft system. It looks like a fancy thing. This really is about drones. It's about drones. We've got transmission lines all over the country. All over the country. It's such a difficult thing to inspect those transmission lines, find that if there's a breakage somewhere, we try and understand where is what, who has done what. But now, with the drones capabilities that we have built within the company, and also certified a number of our people to be the pilots of these drones, is helping to first reduce significantly the cost of maintaining these transmission lines. And also it's making it much more easier to identify what the issues are, because you can be as close as possible, and it reduces the dangers related to our own people when it comes to maintaining these lines. So that's another area of development that we're doing there. There's something called curtailment that we are doing. If you think about renewables, in order for us to connect renewables into our transmission lines and into the grid, you need capacity in the transmission lines. Right now in South Africa, we have got challenges around that capacity. So this curtailment initiative that we have come up with is, you do not always operate your transmission line at peak all the time. Most of the day, that transmission line is probably operating at about 60%. So what we are saying, between peaks, peak being in the morning and in the evening, between the peaks, then somebody can pump energy, renewable energy there. But when we get to the peaks, we curtail them, we stop them. So that's the contract. And coming up with an initiative like that, it has helped us to add another 3.5 gigawatts of capacity into our transmission lines. Whilst we are building new transmission lines, how do we make sure that we use the existing ones efficiently and effectively? So that is the curtailment. Wheeling, wheeling. We're also going to be going big time into the electric vehicles. That's another area of development but I'm sure you do not necessarily want to hear about all of these big things because we have not even really sorted out load shedding. So at this point, I'd like to sit down and say, we have got great things on the horizon, but we are looking at making sure that we sort out load shedding first. Thank you.